America saves on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary, plus applicable taxes.
You know, it feels like a old timers day. We're all sitting in here, Uncle Miles, Adam Taylor, Hollie Anderson, looking at old pictures from the Wave days. And by the way, a lot of these pictures, or a lot of pictures, have been posted at our Facebook page. If you go to your Facebook account and look for 1250 space WTMA, or go to WTMA.com/Facebook, you can see these the pictures. A lot of the Wave Fest pictures, Adam, that you email me are on our Facebook page right now.
Yeah, I thought a couple of those pictures were cool, but then Hollie Anderson is breaking out some of these amazing Wave Fest pictures. There's Wesley Willis. Yeah. Oh, and my God.
Uncle Miles brought in this picture of 70,000 people at Brittlebank Park. That is just an incredible picture. We'll try to put it on C2 a little bit later on this morning, because I don't think people can fathom 70,000 people in Brittlebank Park.
It was amazing.
Unless you were there and you saw it actually happen, it's hard to imagine.
Just imagine a River Dogs game sold out, right? And then take 15 of those sold out stadiums and move them over just a few hundred yards.
How'd you get that? Did you steal that from the station?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Last man standing, buddy.
How'd you get that?
I took stuff when I got fired, too. But Miles never got fired. They just sort of...
Remember, I was the last man standing when Wave went away.
You know, one thing about the Wave here, and Huckabee is standing by in a moment, but he can hang on for a second. But
That's right.
We've had tons of interns that went through the old Wave hallways. We've got one of them standing behind us, Devin Grant, ladies and gentlemen, Devin Grant, the Chucktown critic who writes for the paper, and he's all over the place, and he's documenting this for future reference. But Devin, you actually started as an intern at Wave, right?
Yeah.
And
he was Devin the intern.
And didn't the guy who ended up like running the station, I wasn't going to say running into the ground, but didn't he start as like an intern or a part-timer, Woody Bartlett, the Woodman?
Actually, the very first time I ever met Woody, Lori Thompson introduced him to me as an intern.
Wow, and then you ran the place.
Well, I had no idea that, his family had as much money as they did.
Coca-Cola money.
Right. And what was kind of neat about it, thank God I was treating him well. So we started doing Woodman production spots together. This is before he started owning the radio station.
Wow.
And Woodman production.
And Jody, west of the Ashley, is giving us a buzz here at 556-1250. Jody, another intern at 96 Wave. How you doing, Jody?
I'm doing good.
Hey, Jody.
What do you remember about being an intern at Wave?
All of the shenanigans.
Now, hang on. We do have a delay here. What kind of shenanigans are you referring to, Jody?
It's just jokes back and forth between the hallways. I remember Danny V just constantly, in his office, sticking his head out the door, making some, I guess I can't say asinine comments.
No, you can say asinine comments. And that's one thing, Jody, that as much fun as we had on the air, I think we had more fun even off the air and in the hallways and stuff. And I do want to ask Hollie about the boys' club, because you were sort of the lone female there. Just stand by.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the thing about being an intern, Jody, is what did you learn from us?
How to carry yourself, and you can still keep running with the boys, even though you're the only female, because they're all guy interns.
And you were the female intern.
Yeah.
Well, Jody, thanks for listening, and thanks for putting up with us. Thank you.
I'm flying back to Boston this morning, so I was in town literally for 2 days, and I heard this leaving.
Oh. Well, Jody, thanks a lot for giving us a buzz. We appreciate it.
No problem. Y'all have a good day.
You too. You take care. And I run into people all the time. They're like, I used to intern over there and stuff like that. And yeah, there were shenanigans. And we'll talk about that in the next 90 minutes as the Wave reunion continues here on the Morning Buzz at 1250 WTMA with the Huckabee Report.
This is the Huckabee Report for Friday. I'm Mike Huckabee from North Little Rock, Arkansas. A new Gallup poll ranks Americans' confidence in 16 of the nation's major institutions. Not a surprise, but the highest level of confidence is in the U.S. military. They were followed by small business, the police, the church, and the medical system. In other words, all the institutions that Congress thinks that it ought to be running. So, just how high is the public confidence in Congress? Well, let me look down this chart and see if I can find it.
From the ABC News Pinpoint Weather Center, meteorologist Tom Crawford on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Currently 83 degrees along the Carolina coast and 80 here at 1250 WTMA with your traffic and weather together.
This weather update is brought to you by Wells Fargo. For information on how a reverse mortgage can benefit you, call Jerry Garner at 577-8329.
The Morning Buzz, Richard Todd, WTMA.
With a little love and some tenderness,
Joining me in the studio is the 96 Wave friends and family. You guys have been my friends and family here, but the good part is I stay in the same building, even though I go to a different signal, the 92.5 signal. We're going down the hall. So, guys, I've got a very special song to end things out, and we'll get to that in a second. But if you will join in with me in saying, it's time for me to say so long, see you later. Whoa. What a great 15 and a half years it's been. Bobby Zimmerman said it best when he said, may God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others, and may others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. And may you stay forever young. And keep it here at 96 Wave.
There it was.
All right, I'm going to cry.
That was the last time that Uncle Miles was on the wave after 16 years on that station. That doesn't happen anymore in radio nowadays.
You know, it's weird. I was in the room at the time, and I got chills then.
It was wild.
And then I just got some big chills.
No, I know.
Wow.
And Hollie was saying, I mean, it does, you do get goosebumps when you think about it.
How could you even do that? That's what I was like. Were you not like just tearing up and stuff?
It was difficult. It really was. After all, I mean, it was a hard decision to make.
He's a professional broadcaster, Hollie.
But we did it. We did it.
We have Adam Taylor, Uncle Miles Crosby, and Hollie Anderson in the studio with us as our Wave reunion. I'm Richard Todd, and we thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, we had to play a Hootie. I mean, I mean, come on, Crack Review, 1994. I mean, that blew up for Hootie, and those guys are still trucking along 16 years later. And that was, I mean, that's what brought about 70,000 people down at Brittlebank Park for Wave Fest. And that'll never happen again.
No.
I mean, they wouldn't allow it to ever happen again, much less would that moment in time ever come back.
After that one concert where it was so huge, the city basically came back and said, okay, that's it. You can only have 25,000, no more in that park ever again. And so that's when we started Waveland, which was the old landfill. And we did that for about 2 years, two concerts, 2 years after the big, huge one. And
that was like being on a big trampoline.
I was going to say, that was the thing. You know, you had all these methane pipes, which we had to put that's just true. You've got these methane pipes where they had to put all these fences around them so people couldn't get too close to the methane with cigarettes or lighters.
Right. Somebody asked me the other day, were they ever worried about it? Something blowing up.
That's why they had all those fences. I mean, it literally were fences around them.
About it.
But the ground was so, like Hollie said, it was like a trampoline because it was so spongy.
Now, you know, we posted a bunch of pictures from Wave Fest on our Facebook page. If you go to your Facebook account, look for 1250 space WTMA. And we've gotten some Facebook comments here. Kevin said that was when Charleston was a fun place to live. It's still a fun place to live, but that was a moment in time that will never come back.
Well, think about all the changes that happened from the time that Wave signed on late 80s to, you know, just even a couple of years ago. I mean, everything that changed with the Navy base closing. Remember we did, and every time there was a landmark change, 96 Wave was involved in a certain way, whether it was Sunday beer and wine sales and Navy base closing. Remember we went up to Washington and did the Nuts and Screws
We spent
thing.
a week on the top of the old Howard Johnson's at Dorchester and I-26.
You know, and music changed so much in the early 90s. 96 Wave was a huge part of changing attitudes. We got the Coliseum here. We had, you know, places like Music Farm. All these bands started coming to Charleston and never came before. Yeah, the Acme.
I don't think people can underestimate the importance of the connection between Wave and the Farm at that time. That there was a certain synergy that was special, and of course, the Windjammer, Monday Night Jam, and the Bikini Bash, and Bobby Ross.
Well, bands like, you know, the guys in Hootie were the most well-known local musicians, but you have to remember that we were, I think, in the early 90s, mid-90s, Charleston was one of the best music scenes in the United States, bar none. You know, you had bands like Uncle Mingo. I mean, those guys should have been ginormous. Jump Little Children. They got, you know, Edwin McCain and a lot of others.
Blue Dogs.
In fact, Melissa posted a comment on our Facebook page saying, this is back in the good old days when we actually had a good radio station. So, Melissa, and speaking of blasts from the past, hello there, caller. How are you doing?
How you doing, Richard? Good morning.
Georgie
the Greek. How you doing, Georgie?
How you doing, baby?
Same old George.
Of course, Georgie. Wait, what do you remember about the Wave days when you started, and then and what you miss about it now?
I missed Atom pushing the button because my accent was so thick.
Good thing it's not anymore, George.
And he's saying that I was saying bad words. But I gotta thank Atom personally because he's my godfather, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
You're his godfather?
In a different universe, but yeah, we are.
He, let me tell you, he's the one who named me Georgie the Greek.
That was you?
And it stuck.
Well, it was either that or I keep shooting my middle finger at him. No, Georgie, I love you, man. And George was a great sponsor. You know, George's Sports Bar was a place that Critic and I and a lot of the people on the staff would go to. I mean, it was our go-to
NASCAR
place.
races.
Yeah, NASCAR races. And so George became a more than a sponsor. You were like a part of the show with the football picks and all that stuff. It was great.
And not only that, but, you know, since our studio was right across the parking lot, we used to get drinks brought over to us sometimes when we were on the air, which was awesome.
People forget Georgie's Sports Bar started right there on Ashley River Road when Wave was over there.
96 feet from the 96 Wave Studios. We wouldn't even take remote broadcast. We would hook a microphone and get a cord, and we would run the cord from the studio to a bar.
It'd be a cord in the parking lot to George's Sports Bar. And now, of course, Georgie the Greek is over on Savannah Highway. So, Georgie, it's great to hear from you, man.
That's what I missed most of it, the parties, man. The parties, they were those.
And by the way, for Georgie, there's been some people wanting to know why the Critic isn't in here, and I'll tell you that.
I can tell you he's under his bed right now.
Well, I was thinking he's probably sitting on his couch right now, about 2 blocks from the radio station, listening on the radio because he doesn't have cable. The $10 he would spend would bust his budget. So, but if you want to see the Critic, he's at Georgie's all the time, right, George?
Yes. He's my adopted son.
Well, Georgie.
Hi, guys. Nice to hear your voice, and I hope you come around sometime and see me over here.
I want to go see him.
We love you, Greeky.
Hey, George, we love you, buddy. Thank you, Georgie. Georgie the Greek.
George.
And George, once again, Georgie is still bopping along there on Savannah Highway. So speaking of Savannah Highway, let's see how the traffic is there and everywhere else here. One more check of it with traffic and weather together at 1250 WTMA.
Traffic from the ABC News 4 Pinpoint Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Tom Crawford on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
83 degrees along the Carolina coast and 80 degrees here at 1250 WTMA with your traffic and weather together.
ATP Gun Shop offers the concealed weapons class, so sign up now. ATP Gun Shop, 873-2250. ATP Gun Shop, 873-2250.
Hey, let me bring in somebody else with some Wave memories. You can read him in the Charleston City paper. He works with Hollie Anderson at the Charleston City paper. Ballard, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, it is a pleasure hearing all these old voices on the airwaves again. I'll tell you.
It is, isn't it? These guys, I mean, you hear their voices and it just takes it back in a moment in time. What Wave memories do you have there, Ballard?
I just want to point out, in the 1990s, there was never really, and still isn't really, a college radio kind of presence in Charleston. And Wave really kind of filled that gap. Wave would play songs by artists who wouldn't otherwise be played on commercial radio. It was a way to hear brand new stuff. And you got the feeling that the DJs really kind of had a hand in what was getting played as well. It wasn't such a sort of a corporate, kind of thing where they were just following the playlist. It seemed like everybody was enthusiastically involved about new music, and that was reflected in bringing the bands to town as well.
Well, Hollie was so involved with the music, and all of us took personal pleasure in it. It was almost kind of like it was okay once in a while break format, because format was already kind of a broken format anyway, and play something that you like.
You know what I found the other day? I found the actual certificate we received from the precursor to the City paper, the Up With Herald, naming Taylor and Todd the best morning show. Well, Ballard, hey, it's really great to talk to you. I'm out of time at the moment. You want to hang on and join the conversation a little more, buddy?
Yeah, man, I'm right here.
All right, Ballard from the City paper, Hollie Anderson, Miles Crosby, Adam Taylor. The Wave reunion continues on the Morning Buzz at 1250 WTMA.
$10,000 in cash and prizes buried deep in the sand at McElveen, Somerville.